"Hey, there's a girl. She's going to make us some aprons for the restaurant," said Chef Joseph, the head chef at Baco Mercat in LA. "Do you want to buy one?" Everything froze. I was a cook in Chef Joseph's kitchen, and I didn't know the apron supplier, but I knew I did not want one of her aprons. Oh my God, do I say something about my apron company? I mean, it's not really an apron company yet, but it will be. My aprons are going to make everyone who wears them feel like they matter. They'll make them feel like the amazing cooks and artists and makers that they are. We all hate wearing these cheap, shitty, scratchy aprons that fit about as well as a hospital gown. This is my chance. The opportunity boat is sailing by. I have to get on it. "Chef, I have an apron company," I said, taking a little liberty with the verb tense. "I'll make you those aprons." "What are you talking about?" Chef Joseph said, giving me his steady, inquisitive look that I knew so well. "You're a line cook in my kitchen." It was a fair point. I was a line cook in his kitchen, standing at my station, chopping vegetables. "I have an apron company, Chef. I started it recently. I would love to make you those aprons. I can totally do it." "What is she charging you? What is she making them out of? What's her turnaround?" "I think I can do it faster and better." "Well, she said she's going to take about 6 weeks. I could tell by his tone he was not too jazzed about that timeline. "Well, I'll do it in 4, I said. "Yeah?" he said. "Yeah, for real," I said. "I've already been working on it. Well, I'd been talking to my coworker, Kevin, about it. And I actually just filed for a DBA, or doing business as, which is the very first step in registering a company. So it felt real enough, at least to me. But as for a quote-unquote company, that was pretty much all in my head. I didn't have a design. I didn't have a pattern. I didn't have fabric. I didn't even know where to buy fabric. I certainly didn't even know how to run a company. Nor did I have the infrastructure, or even anyone with a sewing machine. Yet. I had no idea how long it would take to do any of this, let alone all of it. But I was damn well going to try, and I was gonna get it done. "Okay, all right. Cool," said Chef. Wait, what the fuck? Really? If I screwed up the aprons, I'd probably lose my job. Not to mention that I respected Chef Joseph to the moon and back, and I didn't want to mess this up. I could not let him down with an all-caps "not." At the end of the night, I clocked out and called Kevin to tell him that we had a 40-unit order. Even though our last conversation had been about early-day decisions like finding fabrics and a pattern, and what we'd call the company. My dream to make aprons had sprung from an observation of this thing that would happen at the end of a shift. The kitchen staff would change out of their work uniforms and come back in to grab their stuff, looking and carrying themselves like totally different humans, in their civvies, civilian clothes after work. Or, when I ran into them at the farmer's market on Sundays, they looked like real people with way more pep in their step and just generally more at ease. And by they, I mean we. Because in our standard issue aprons, which were either rented from a linen service or bought as cheaply as possible, we looked like we didn't matter. They were all but made of flimsy paper masquerading as fabric. They were so basic, they didn't even adjust around the neck, or have a useful pocket for our tweezers, pens, or Sharpies. Or if they did, they tore off with the slightest tug. At the night's end, we'd toss them aside, the feeling of disposability still clinging to us, and that just had to change. Does everyone in the kitchen feel so shitty before they look so shitty? What if they had a uniform that didn't make them feel like cogs in a wheel? In between slamming out orders on the line, Kevin and I would brainstorm ideas, which I'd jot down and stuff into my recipe book, right next to my cooking notes. For inspiration, all I had to do was look down at my own mangled apron. My pockets always got caught on the handles of the lowboy refrigerators and ripped off, with the floppy fabric left dangling. In between orders, I'd draw a sketch for a new style of pocket that had reinforced corners to stand up to the mayhem of kitchen work. "Okay, what do you think about this apron?" I'd ask Kevin. We'd have a quick exchange while he cooked up the Wagyu beef or whatever protein he was responsible for that night. And then, like a hummingbird, I'd flit back over to my kitchen station. He was much more introspective and liked to analyze everything. So between us, we created a good balance.